Bryan and Keo hanging out with you on 540 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com. The Milwaukee Bucks back in the playoffs for the first time in 2 years. Giannis has led them there, and they made a little run in the middle of the season after Jabari Parker went down with a season-ending injury. So the question we want to toss out to our fans today is very simple. Are the Bucks better without Jabari Parker in the lineup? Keo, you've watched a lot of Bucks basketball this season. What do you think the answer to that question is? Because there is an argument to be made there.
Well, that's a really hard topic to say, because it's really also unfortunate, because this is the exact same thing happened in 2015. Jabari Parker goes out with an ACL injury, and then the Bucks ended up going into the playoffs and taking the Chicago Bulls to 6 games. Right. So it's really hard to say. But if you ask the Bucks players, they'll tell you, like, this is just like, they'll always say, well, we may be playing good now, but imagine how well we would have been playing with Jabari. Mm-hmm. In fact, Giannis has said several times, is like he wishes Jabari was out there playing with them, because it's just not the same without him.
You're absolutely right. And the Bucks in the locker room and people involved with that organization, none of them are ever going to say, hey, we're better without Jabari Parker, because he is a dynamic scorer. He's still so young. He's an explosive player with great athleticism, but they have played good basketball without him in the lineup. Why do you think that is?
What I think it is just, okay, one of our guys goes down, let's try to play as good as we can without him, sure, and hope when he gets back healthy and stronger than ever.
Bryan and Keo hanging out with you on 540 ESPN, talking Bucks basketball and talking Jabari Parker. You know, Keo, I ran some statistics this morning. Since 2014, and the Bucks drafted Jabari Parker that year, the year that he tore his ACL, now a second ACL injury down for the season once again. Since 2014, the Bucks record with Jabari Parker in the lineup on the floor is 67-85. Without Jabari Parker on the floor, they're 46-41. So they're a better basketball team when he's not on the floor. It's just an interesting conundrum, and it's going to get even more interesting going forward when he does come back. As we look at the rest of Jabari Parker's career, do you believe that he is still going to find a way to become a superstar player in the NBA despite 2 major knee injuries?
As a Bucks fan, I would love and hope for that to happen, right, but at this point in his career, he's already had 2 ACL injuries in the same knee. It's going to be hard for him, but I think at this point he might not become a superstar, but he could become at least a good wingman or a role player. And at this point in time, he's like, when he was drafted, many thought he would become the franchise player, but right, now it's pretty clear that Giannis is the franchise player, and if Jabari does come back, he'll definitely be the second option.
Right. What part of, and that may take some pressure off Jabari going forward, you would think, not having to be that number one face of the franchise superstar. But Keo, what do you think is the part of Jabari's game that he has to develop to get to that level of being a viable second option to Giannis and being that second superstar of a big 2 that they hopefully can create a big 3 with Giannis, Jabari, and Chris Middleton? What is the part of his game you think he has to develop the most?
Well, right now, I would say like one thing he needs to develop once again is getting confident in his legs, because as you saw from most of the season before he got injured, he was getting confident in himself. He was taking over games at some points. Mm-hmm. He was even leading the Bucks in scoring. And he was holding down the 4 while Chris Middleton came back. And it is unfortunate that it's ironic that when Chris Middleton came back, while they were in the midst of that losing streak, Jabari goes down with that ACL injury. It's just, I feel he's had a really, really bad luck. But
it is bad luck. It is unfortunate. Bryan and Keo with you on 540 ESPN. You can call us during the show at 800-990-3776. You can also tweet at ESPN Milwaukee. We still have playoff basketball to talk about, Keo. Mm-hmm. What happens if the Bucks go on a pretty impressive playoff run? Maybe they win a series. Maybe they take their second series to 6 or 7 games. What happens in regards to Jabari Parker if they make a nice little playoff run this year and then Jabari has to come back? How does he fit into the mix? I think what happens in the playoffs this year might determine the organization's thinking about Jabari Parker going forward.
Yeah, I think so too. If, let's say, regardless who they face, or at this point, let's say if it's Toronto and they take the series to 6 games or even beat the Raptors in 7 in Toronto, and Jabari sees it's like, man, how am I supposed to fit into this rotation if they can take down one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference without me? I think that, and also the owners might think, if we're doing this well without Jabari, why are we waiting on him to come back? We could trade him and see if we can get some valuable assets for him.
It's going to be interesting to watch, and it's exciting at bare minimum, with or without Jabari Parker, that we do have playoff basketball back in Milwaukee. We will talk more playoffs on Thursday. This has been Bryan and Keogh on 540 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.